All players have their own personal ambitions. If you're a bench player, the natural thing is to become a starting player, and I was just wondering how coaches can manage that as far as making sure that bench players don't undermine the starting players in training and during games as well.
I actually think that's an excellent question, because it's a real world issue that teams that have a significant bench are going to have. One of the philosophies that we talk about when we're trying to establish a quality foundation for any team, it's one of the first things that we'll speak of. We have the models, we have grip, we have disc and everything else. But as a very simple philosophy, we talk about how do you be the best player for the team, instead of focusing on always trying to be the best player in the team. Personally, myself, I recall my rowing days, particularly training for the 2004 Olympics, and that was the first time I was exposed to that philosophy by a man called John Eales, and he was the captain of our rugby team and is regarded in Australia as being one of the greatest sporting captains and even leaders beyond that, even from a corporate perspective, that we've seen from a country. And John said to me, because I was very much of the opinion that I just needed to focus on my performance and try and be the best athlete that I could be, and every time that we went out to train, I was trying to compete against the other guys and they were competing against me, and ultimately what we were doing whilst we were training hard, I personally found that very tiring. And so John said to me, but it's not so much about you trying to be the best, it's about how can you add value to someone else and how can you be the best player for the team. And that really resonated with me, and it completely changed my focus and my philosophy as to how I conducted myself. But as opposed to being a bench player, I was always in the boat. Like, I was never not in the boat. I always made it the focus of my own. Even if I was a little bit injured or perhaps really fatigued, I was never going to give up my seat, because I know that once you give up your seat, you give someone else an opportunity. But that was just me. But the reality is, for players that perhaps are occupying those bench positions, I think it's about the coach really focusing as a philosophy on how can everyone make a quality contribution to the team, and having that resonate around, being the best player for the team and not just the best player on the team. I think if you create that, if you have that as a philosophy, and other models that we've looked at in the past, such as the circle of safety, that's absolutely fundamental. I think one key thing from the circle of safety, that if you do create that safe environment where people are valued, where people feel like they're making a contribution, whether it's on the court or off the court, there are equally important ways to make contributions. But if the coach really does focus on that, then people do feel safe in their environment. And you get a healthy competition where literally I'm pushing you, but I'm going with you. I'm not trying to beat you as such. I think that if you do that, if you get the circle of safety right, as a concept, what you'll end up with is cooperation and trust. And if you can find that those two qualities are part of your team, then not only is your bench going to be, contributing to the max, but they're also the players on the court. They're going to feel massively supported by those bench players.